Microsoft founder Bill Gates has warned that Africa's population explosion will overwhelm Europe unless the continent makes it more difficult for migrants to reach its shores. The American billionaire's comments come as European leaders discuss what to do about the surging number of Africans arriving in Italy each week, with Rome calling for other European Union (EU) nations to open their ports to docking migrants so as to ease pressure on the Mediterranean nation. In an interview with the German Welt Sonntag newspaper, Gates said massive population growth in Africa will result in enormous, migratory, pressure on Europe unless countries increase overseas development aid payments. Praising Germany having achieved its commitment to devote 0.7% of GDP to foreign aid as phenomenal, the 61-year-old called on other European nations to follow its example. But Gates also spoke of a dilemma caused by the German attitude to refugees, referring to Chancellor Angela Merkel's decision to open Europe's borders to illegal migrants arriving from the Third World. On the one hand, you want to demonstrate generosity and take in refugees, but the more generous you are, the more word gets around about this, which in turn motivates more people to leave Africa, Gates told the Sunday newspaper. Germany cannot possibly take in the huge, massive number of people who are wanting to make their way to Europe. Because of this, Gates stressed that Europe must make it more difficult for Africans to reach the continent via the current transit routes. Italy is demanding that other EU nations open their ports to migrants ferried from Libya as the country struggles to cope with having already received over 80,000 people this year. Calling for African newcomers to be spread throughout Europe, the Mediterranean nation's globalist center-left government insisted that the EU migrant relocation program, which is largely limited to people from Eritrea and Syria, should be expanded to include other nationalities, such as Nigerians. UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, on Saturday decried an unfolding tragedy in Italy. Without a swift collective action, we can only expect more tragedies at sea, he declared, noting that around 2,000 migrants have lost their lives on the sea route from Libya to Italy this year. The Italian diplomat repeated calls for an urgent distribution system for incoming migrants and asylum seekers, and additional legal pathways to admission.